Good afternoon everyone. It is the 28th of January 2022 and we're heading into 3 p.m. I just had a severe thunderstorm warning come through about 5 minutes ago, and I've parked the rig up here. The wind, it is coming from that direction, so I've got that wall there to protect me. The alert said massive hailstones as well, so I've got this big tree, so I've parked right under there. The only issue with this setup is that it's damaging winds, that some branches could fall down and hit the solar panel or even come through the roof. So I need to be careful. If it gets really bad, I've got my backup plan over there under the gazebo, but the issue with that is I won't be protected from the wind. Anyway, we'll see how we go, folks. It's dropped about 10 degrees in about 60 seconds, so it's coming through. I just spoke to my mate Trev in Cowes, Phillip Island, and he said it's 22 degrees over there, been really windy and raining, and so I guess we're just about to get it now. Anyway, it's a lovely reprieve actually, because it's been stinking hot. And I didn't leave today based on a couple of factors. One of them being it was really hot and I was really tired, and I didn't want to risk possibly getting that nonsense coming. So anyway, we should be alright, I hope. Anyway, I'll probably do another upload tomorrow when I'm coming into Morwell. Alright guys, see ya. G'day guys. It is 3:24 a.m. on the Saturday morning. I think it's the 28th, 29th, I'm not really sure. And I'm still down here at Morwell, and the reason I'm doing this little bit of footage here is to give you an idea of how it's kind of like a little bit pear-shaped things can go here at times when you're in the concrete jungle. And where I am isn't really stealth camping at all. I'm still in that same recreation oval thing, barbecue facility. You've seen it anyway. So what are some of the things that can happen when you're in a built-up area, or what are the things that have happened here over the last 2 nights? Well, what can happen is late at night, people walk through, or they'll sit near where you're trying to sleep, and they'll start talking and whatever, and it wakes you up, right? It's not so much that you're in any danger, or hopefully not, but it wakes you up. And once that happens, it is very difficult to get back to sleep. So that's what happened last night. An event happened and somebody had lost their keys somehow up a tree, and they were trying to get this set of keys down for hours and hours, and it's getting closer for me to go to sleep, and I'm thinking, bloody hell, I understand that there's something in the tree they're trying to get down, and then I'm going through my list of things that I have in the rig that may be of assistance. And I was sitting there for 10 or 15 minutes, and the only thing I could come up with was rope. I had like very thin, like paracord stuff wound up in a thing, just as, stuff, if something goes wrong, I've got some rope and whatever. So I took that over, and they tied that to a big branch, like a section of a branch, and they threw that up over this branch of the tree. And we're pulling and shaking this bloody thing, and anyway, these keys were wedged in there so much that they ended up tying the end of the rope to their car and ripping this branch down, right? And they got their keys. So after that, I was then able to go to bed, and I had a sleep. That was quite late at night. That was like 11 o'clock, and I woke up the next day and very tired and stuff. And I didn't head to Morwell today because there's this severe thunderstorm that you'll see coming up. Even though this section of the footage is post that, I'll put that after this. Now tonight, at about 2:30 in the morning,
some other people walked through and were making a bit of noise and stuff, and it woke me up. And now I can't get back to sleep. So rather than try and fight the obvious, I just get up. And I've actually had a coffee. How crazy is that? But you've got to take these events with a grain of salt, right? You've got to expect this when you're coming to a built-up area and you're in a park like I am, and you're not in a stealthy little area like I was the other day down at Warragul, where I was down that walking path. No one walks past there late at night. But when you're in a township like this, the shops are probably 500 metres down the road there. There's a pokey venue at the end of this park, which is probably open till pretty late, so you get a lot of people, cars coming and going, and people walking in there, etc. So that's the kind of stuff that can happen. That's why I prefer not to stay in townships. But I have to go and get this rig checked over before I go up the east coast, just to make sure that there's nothing major, like in the frame, or the steering system, all that sort of stuff. Those kinds of things I am not that skilled in noticing. There could be some fine hair cracks or something which could turn nasty down the track, so I need to get it checked out by Ben at Trisled before I head off, so I've got peace of mind. But for me to be able to get to Trisled in Morwell, there was just no other way to do it but to come down the M1. And believe it or not, it's a lot safer travelling down the M1 because it's got a wonderful shoulder. Even though the cars are doing 110 kilometres an hour, it's still, in my humble opinion, a lot safer than some of the back roads and stuff like that, because the M1 doesn't have blind spots. That's what I'm trying to get at. That being said, it's still a very anxious time because these cars and trucks are going past so fast that there's just no way known that you would survive anything like that. Then again, it's a direct line to where you need to go, and when you need to pull over and go to sleep, there's all townships along the way, and you just take the off-ramp, you go stay there, and then get back on the next day and keep going. So it's pretty handy like that. Anyway, some other things have happened as well, which are really positive. Because I mention a lot about balance, right? And that's exactly what it is. You need to be able to look at this, like coming through areas, built-up areas, and coming into a new town. I get bombarded, right? Because this rig is so unique and it piques people's curiosity. Now, a wonderful thing happened yesterday. It was probably about lunchtime, maybe even earlier than that. It was earlier than lunchtime, actually. A chap came over and talked to me really early in the morning. He was down there walking his dog, lovely chap. And he left, and then he came back with his a friend. And he said, "I've just brought my friend down because I wanted to show her your rig." I said, "Yeah, no worries." He parked his car in this dirt road, right? That is the only dirt road to get around this park once you get into the park, and he's parked it right there and just got out, and so he's blocking all the traffic, right? Not that there was a lot of traffic, right? But, we're talking for nearly an hour. Anyway, while we're talking, we see the police across the road have pulled someone over. And we're talking away, and then the police finish up with whoever they pulled over, and they start moving towards the gravel road and start coming toward us. And I said to this guy, I said, "Oh, look, your car's blocking the thing, mate. You probably better go and move it." And he was a bit hesitant at first, and then he walked over, and anyway, the cops gave him the thumbs up, and they started to get out of the car, and were looking like they were coming. Well, obviously they're going to come over. And I'm thinking, oh, okay, so looks like I might be getting moved on. That's okay, these things happen. And it was the total opposite, mate. These guys were really humble and nice and just really curious, about the rig. And they said, "Look, we pulled someone over there, and we looked over and we saw you here, and we just had to come over and say hello and have a look." I said, "No worries, mate." Took them through everything. As I've got sort of like a a list of what I go through, and whatever order it comes out in is what it comes out in. But I try and cover everything and not get too technical. I just talk about the solar, the batteries, the bafang, the electric assist motor, and then I show them inside and tell them a bit about that, and then I talk about the message, right, about how I'm trying to showcase to people that there are other ways to live. You don't have to sell your soul to the interest slavery beast and buy into this ridiculous system, because it's just bloody hurtful, mate. Now, what people don't realise, I see it all the time, it's like house prices have gone right up, right? People are buying houses like toilet rolls. Remember that fiasco in the beginning when people were buying, getting into fights in Woolworths and Coles because, they were taking too many toilet rolls? Well, it's kind of gone like that with houses now. People are buying houses sight unseen. And I've seen a lot of elderly people, homeless people, living in sedans because they can't afford the rent anymore and they've got no family, and it's very sad to see that. I see that nearly every day. Every township I go to, I bump into these elderly people living in cars and they've got a dog or two dogs, and I'm just like, wow, I had trouble in a station wagon. God knows how uncomfortable you must be in your sedan. And what happens is that people keep buying houses at ridiculous prices, and they do so, right? And they have this thought in their mind that, I'm going to leave my children a legacy. They'll always have a home. But the issue is, that's the wrong way of looking at it. Because when you do that, right, you cancel out your kids ever buying a home on their own terms, right? You're going to leave your kids a legacy, but that's not a lesson. There's no lesson there for your kids, right? And you cancel out your grandkids ever owning a house on their terms either, because the housing market now is just bloody ridiculous, mate. I'm seeing houses in even rural areas where, 5 years ago you could buy a house for 150 grand, 200 grand. They're now 500, 600, 700 grand. It's absolutely ridiculous, mate. And these people, they get all excited when they've bought a house. Oh, well, this wonderful house, I paid 1.2 million for it. Like that's some kind of thing to be proud about. We're talking about total insanity here, guys. And it's taxing, mate. It's taxing to be around that mindset. And in these built-up areas, if you're into energy and vibrations and things like that, there's a lot of negativity in these places, mate. Everyone's in this McDonald's drive-through mentality. Everyone rushes about. Everyone, even in rural areas, I see it as well, rushing about trying to get to work, and God help you if you get in their way, mate. God help you if they're 5 minutes late for work. I see it all the time. Now, that fast-paced mentality is just really destructive, and over time it can wear away at you, and it's extremely taxing. That's why I don't like coming to these places for very long. I'm happy to come through, do a bit of shopping, park it up at a park for an hour or two, run some people through the thing, because that's what I'm here to do, right? I have to do a bit of that, otherwise I'm just some bloody hypocrite, right? So I'm happy to do that, and but we're playing on a rigged table here. It's extremely difficult to maintain a level of inner peace when you're surrounded by en masse 5 sense based people that are totally identified and addicted to the 5 senses and consuming. And everywhere you go, you see it all the time. People running through shopping centres and, look of glee on their face when they get a new pair of Nike Airs or whatever. And then you got the other people that are, really sad. And you see it in their eyes. That they don't have the wherewithal to remove themselves from a place like that, right? This soul-destroying place. They don't have the wherewithal to remove themselves. They're not into consuming anymore. They understand that, or they feel that on some level that sort of stuff never made them happy, but at the same time they just, for whatever reason, contentment or fear, well, fear definitely, they just will not remove themselves from those geographical locations, and that's very sad to see. I see it in their eyes, you know, and they have that feeling about them that they're just not happy. Unfortunately, you can't help these people in terms of like a direct word in their face. You know, you've got to sort of come at it through the side door indirectly. Like doing videos like this is just one more arrow in my quiver of getting the message out there, that hopefully some people stumble across these video uploads and see for themselves that, you know, you can live rather comfortably in a rig like I do, like I have. You don't have to have all the bells and whistles that I have. I've just gone to the extreme because I'm a bit of a techie. I like playing with a bit of tech and stuff, and I have also a level of comfort that over the years of living rustically, I have learnt that it makes me feel a lot better about living rustically. Hang on, light's gone off. Whoop, we've run out of power. Anyway, yes, so it makes me feel better to have a shower at the end of the day and, you know, do stuff like that. Nice bed, nice shower, good cooking facilities, and a fridge to keep stuff cold, and power. Very important, guys, to have power. So you're not reliant on places like this. If you don't want to come to suburban built-up areas, you don't have to. There's just absolutely no need other than to do some shopping. And if you have a big enough setup, like a big enough fridge and enough compartments to put your food in, you can, you know, you don't have to go to a township for 2 weeks. You can find water in parks and stuff if you've got the anti-vandal tap key, because very few parks have the tap handle anymore. And you can bypass those places altogether for, you know, quite some lengths of time. Anyway, guys, my little light that I was just using there outdoors has run out of charge because it's solar powered. Anyway, I'll end it there, and yeah, catch you soon. I'm leaving tomorrow for Morwell. Stay there Saturday night, Sunday night, and then Monday I go and see Ben at Trisled. And hopefully Ben's amenable to doing a bit of a Q&A with us online. You'll get to see around his shop a bit better. I'll ask him some questions about the build, the rig, how, you know, what was his, you know, his process and the things he thought about, and we'll just pick his brains a bit and do a bit of stuff like that. Alright guys, see ya.
G'day guys, here I am down at Morwell, and the time is 10 minutes to 12 on Saturday, the something of January 2022. Now, wasn't going to come here today because that storm was keeping me back at Maui, but I kept looking probably every 30 minutes at the weather report, and it said there was a break coming up. And I just took off, mate. You know, there's no packing up really needed to do in this. You just put up the drop box and start pedaling. So that's what I did. It was, by Google Maps, it was 19 kilometres from Maui to Morwell. And I did that in just under 2 hours. And the reason why it was under 2 hours was actually probably an hour and a half, really. I didn't really look at the time very much, but there was this hill of all hills, and yeah, the first part of this hill was really, really steep, but I didn't know that. So I'm, you know, just at the top of it, I thought, oh, what a lovely chance to have a bit of a vape, you know. So I've got that in my left hand, and I'm just having a bit of a vape, and then I realised I'm picking up a lot of speed here. Oh dear. And then it just sort of went from going down like that to then way straight down, and like I'm just, look out, a leopard tank's coming your way. And I've got the vape in the left hand, and I'm trying to hold onto the steering wheel. Everything's shaking and rattling and rolling, and it was wonderful. Once again, 60 kilometres an hour, hair on fire, what's left of it. And that was the first part of the hill, and then it sort of evened out for a moment, and then it went for about 2 or 3 kilometres, not as downhill as or steep as the last one, but you know, it was just fantastic. It was 40 kilometres an hour for 2 to 3 kilometres, and just kick back, make sure that scanning the horizon in the shoulder to make sure there's no dead wombats or truck tyres and things like that, and barbed wire. I've seen a bit of barbed wire out on the roads, and actually ran over it a couple of times, but thankfully it didn't puncture the tyres. The tyres on here are pretty good. They've got the anti-puncture lining in them. Anyway, so here I am. I'm going to pan around in a minute and show you where I am. Last night, something happened once again. Another disturbed night of sleep, folks, which went like this. So at about, what time was it? Probably 1:30, 2, maybe 2:30 in the morning. Yeah, it was 2:30 when these people left, and then I got up, looked at the time, and it said 2:36. That's right. Anyway, so you know, wasn't in any harm or anything like that, but sound travels a lot in parks, especially at night. So I was camped well away. When I want to say well away, maybe about 100, 200 feet from the gazebo where I was sort of hanging out a little bit, and then I moved the rig, and I was camped out next to that building and the gazebo. Some people went there and started having a bit of a chat quite loudly at 2:30 in the morning, and it woke me up, and then I couldn't get back to sleep, so I just got up and had a coffee and that. And then there was this other chap, a friend that I made in town, Jess and Jordan, how you going, guys? Told me that, look, have you seen this guy? And I said, yeah, I saw someone wandering around. And she said, look, don't worry, he's harmless. I said, no worries. So that wasn't a concern when this chap rolled around. The issue was that he turned on the tap near where I was sleeping and decided to give himself a wash for about 20 minutes. It sounded like Niagara Falls. So, you know, and I was just about to try and go back to sleep, so it was just impossible. And then the laughter started. You're just walking around here and there in the park and having a bit of a giggle. And as lovely as it sounded and innocent and childlike, his giggle, it just was like, I'm just not going to get any sleep at all. And I haven't. Since 2:30 this morning, I have not slept a wink. Anyway, I wanted to not clarify something, but just talk to you about how things balance out and some of the kindness that people bestow upon you as you're going about the place. And Jess and her son Jordan were two of those kinds of people that, you know, when you meet them, it's just like, how you going? You know, and Jess was lovely. She came back. I'll show you this. She came back the other day. Hang on, I've got to flip it around. Crikey, what am I doing? Okay, so the lovely Jess brought me 9 lemons, and there was a meaning to it, which I forget right now because there was a lot of stuff that she told me. And but anyway, it was great talking to her. She's come about being in a transformational stage in a different kind of way that I have, but very similar. Anyway, she taught me a lot, and she gave me 9 lemons, and she said over the years in her travels she seems to find things in the shape of love hearts, and she found this love heart stone the other day and she gave that to me. So I thought that was really, really lovely, and this goes to show, guys, there is real kindness out there. And yeah, I hope to, you know, maybe see him again one day. They said they're going to follow the YouTube channel, which is awesome. Anyway, without any further ado, let's have a spin around and show you where I am. Now, I'm going to show you this sign, right? Not because I'm being I am a bit of a smart ass, but anyway. So this sign up here says, no camping, private property, Energy Australia. Okay, well, you know what I feel about those kinds of things, don't you, folks? Anyway, there's some new house things going over here. there's a couple of bins along here. There's some track over up there. Don't know where that goes, don't care. And that bridge there is the one that came off the off-ramp from the M1, and I've just pulled up in here to have a rest and get you up to speed with where I'm at. And Morwell, the actual township and the shops, is up through there and around that corner. Now I don't know if I'm going to stay here tonight. Now I'll flip this around. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to stay here tonight. The sign, I don't know, mood dependent. Some days you feel a little bit 10 foot tall and bulletproof, and other days you feel a bit anxious about certain areas that you stay in. I spent 2 days at Morwell, I think it was, two nights, 2 days, and then Trafalgar. So there was 2 nights there and 2 nights there. In the concrete jungle in stealth campsites, I definitely don't like to stay any longer than 2 nights in a row. And I'm a bit taxed with all of that because there was a lot of people still coming over and, asking questions and stuff, and, it does get a bit taxing after a while. So I've planted myself here just on the outskirts of town. I do have to go into town and do a few things. I've got to get some medicine, some groceries to last me until I leave here, which could be, we don't know yet. We don't know if there's going to be something wrong with the rig. Ben might find something and go, well, I need it for a week, and if that's the case, I might, I'll have to look at where I'm going to stay for a week, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Anyway, as I said, I'll be heading into town, get a few things, and look, I'll probably, it's not bad, this spot. I don't think anyone's going to hassle me here, especially if I plonk myself maybe right down the other end where there's hardly any cars coming down. Right here, if I was to stay here, people would see you. It's not very likely, but there's cars coming and going. But if I'm way down there, the chances of that are pretty slim. So I think that is what I'm going to do. All right, guys, we'll catch you soon.